I'm joined now by Britt Beemer. He's the chairman and founder at America's Research Group. That's a behavior research and strategic consulting firm. Let's talk a little bit about Black Friday. Break it down for us. What are you seeing? It looks like huge numbers here in the U.S. Start there if you can, and then give us kind of the global picture too, if you will.
Well, Mike, thank you. I would see two things tonight. Black Friday was very strong. Obviously, we had a lot of consumers spending more money this year. Our research shows that 61% of consumers are making more money today than they did a year ago, so therefore they have more money to spend. I do think that Thursday was a bit of a problem because, as you may have heard, a number of retailers sold out of items online before consumers got there on Thursday afternoon or evening to shop, and there was a mini revolt going on in some retail stores. And I will tell you, in this day of social media, that can hurt you. And no different than what Kmart found out 30 years ago when their advertised items never got to shelves on Sunday, yet the insert was on Sunday was a big problem. And these retailers may face similar difficulties. I do think, though, that the electronics category is still the #1 category. TVs, electronics, computers, et cetera, were very hot this weekend. And I think you'll see also categories like mattresses. There were more discounts on mattresses this year than ever before. I think it's an interesting category. Manufacturers like Tempur-Pedic had a $1,000 rebate. So there's some things like that going on. But I would tell you, consumer optimism is the best I've seen in almost 30 years. In fact, there's an economic confidence today that consumers feel like they can buy almost anything within reason. But yet, the irony is, even though they say they'll buy anything, 63% of consumers say they will not go back into debt. So they'll only spend as much money as they have in the bank, not how much their credit limit is. I think that's a big issue because retailers are having a hard time getting those consumers to spend that extra $500 sometimes if they have to borrow for it.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about consumer confidence, but it sounds to me like you think it's pretty good. So let me ask you the next question on my list, which is this trade war. How do you see that impacting things, or is that something that still isn't being felt that much, that's something down the road a piece?
Well, we interview about 10 to 15,000 consumers every week. Right now, we're interviewing 20,000 consumers a week for our clients. The consumer really has not seen it or felt it. I think they may long term, but the irony is too is everybody talks about the tariffs going up, but the real fact is that Trump has been able to negotiate those deals where the tariff was only in place for a few weeks or even a couple months. So if the tariffs get reduced because China accepts the American demands, I think everybody wins in that case. I do think that things that are low ticket items, I know retailers have been trying to absorb that extra amount of money on the tariffs, so not to pass them all to consumers. That long term would not be good, but I don't think you'll see the tariffs out there. I'd be surprised if they're still in place by the middle of January. I do think, though, that consumers watch what they're buying. And I will tell you that, obviously with the loss of Toys R Us, we had the consumers complaining today in our interviews that it was hard to find certain toys because they didn't know where to go because Toys R Us was gone.
A lot of folks don't want to go out there and just kind of trade the elbows with other consumers on Thursday and Friday. They want to go online and do it. It's less headaches. So talk to me about how that's impacting bricks and mortar stores. Are they feeling, are they actually making more money because they're selling more online, or are they getting hit because of that?
Well, the challenge has always been, Mike, is that Black Friday is really a tradition in America that's going to be hard to beat online for one regard. That is, retailers will advertise and say, this deal is so good we only have 20 per store, or 1,000 to sell chain-wide, or 15 per store. And that motivates consumers actually to shop those stores. And those consumers were out this year, both on Thursday and Friday, when they saw those deals. Now, online, I think, gives it a challenge because when retailers like Walmart or Target, I guess, sold the items out online before the stores opened at 6 o'clock or 4 o'clock, whatever it was, that's when consumers get really mad because consumers say, look, I took my time to drive here, but you sold that product to a consumer who's just pushing a button. Who are you going to respect more, the person that drives here and shops, people that are going to push the button? And I think that's where the conflict gets to be. And when I did a research this 2 weeks ago, we identified that there's about 39% of consumers today say that they are upset so much with a company they no longer will go online to buy for them. That was only 16% a year ago. That's jumped almost by 3 times. So there's a little bit more difficulty out there with consumers and online companies. I mean, it won't stop the growth of Amazon and other big ones, but it's going to have an impact on them. I think that they have to realize you don't want to disrespect Americans, or you want to take away their time. They get really mad at you.
Well, that's a balancing act. Britt Beemer, always a pleasure talking to you. Thanks so much.